Rogue froze in confusion at Frey's sudden arrival. Frey struck toward the rogue with her sword, and the rogue blocked the blow with her blade. Frey smiled at the rogue and greeted her, causing the rogue to become even more bewildered. Frey launched herself upward while attacking and unleashed a fearsome sword technique that struck the rogue from an unexpected angle, instantly dispelling the undead monster the rogue had summoned. Moran recoiled in alarm at the sudden turn of events, and Harriet's shoulders tensed as they watched. The rogue steadied herself as she landed on the ground, and Frey scolded the rogue for ambushing her despite their unfamiliarity. The rogue demanded Frey's identity, and Frey answered with an eerie smile. Frey introduced herself as Frey, one of the Empire's 4 knights, styling herself as Frey of War, and declared an intent to wage war against the rogue. The rogue recalled the knight from Changtap village and recognized the reference to the 4 knights mentioned by a bearded man. Frey confirmed the connection and then taunted that after greeting the rogue, she could now begin fighting. Frey charged at the rogue, and their blades clashed in a massive explosion that shattered nearby trees. Frey followed up with a ground strike while the rogue absorbed the impacts with her weapon. Frey launched a flurry of relentless attacks that the rogue attempted to dodge. Frey then kicked the rogue, sending her flying, but the rogue collided her sword into the ground to steady herself and avoid falling. The rogue watched Frey's movements with rising astonishment, thinking that Frey moved like something inhuman, and noting the bizarre reach and joint motions that made the fight feel unnatural. Frey moved in for another assault, and the rogue tossed a small stone toward Frey's eyes. The stone drew Frey's attention and created an opening. Seizing the moment, the rogue rained punches onto Frey's face and limbs. Frey suffered pain from the barrage and countered with a sweeping sword strike that sent the rogue skidding backward amid a cloud of dust. Frey pressed her hand to her eyes and mocked the rogue's lack of a proper force, remarking that the rogue had come with only 2 kids under the pretense of providing help. Frey added that she would bury those 2 children along with the rogue and leave the place. The rogue absorbed the insult and acknowledged that Frey might be able to kill her, praising Frey's battle instinct and unnaturally long reach while admitting Frey's strength. The rogue then stood fully, asserting that Frey's poor eyesight could be her fatal flaw. The rogue's Demon King's sword loomed close, and at the rogue's command, the demon army materialized from the blade. Frey stared in disbelief as the dead monsters now surrounded her. The rogue urged Moran and Harriet to flee with the sword in hand. A tremendous explosion erupted nearby, and when the smoke cleared, a colossal dragon-like undead monster appeared, with Moran and Harriet riding upon it. Moran and Harriet began to berate the rogue for not informing them that she intended to use smoke on the soldiers, because they believed she would also smoke them. Harriet demanded to know what the rogue had mixed into the smoke. The rogue coolly explained that she had soaked Tehran chilies in blasting smoke, mixed in powdered turtle shell, and hardened the mixture, offering to provide the recipe in writing. Harriet shouted for the chatter to stop. Moran asked if there was any plan, and warned that if Frey truly was one of the 4 knights, even an army might not suffice. The rogue admitted that stopping Frey might be impossible at that rate, and urged retreat beyond the boundary markers, instructing them to make as much noise as possible to facilitate their escape. Moran protested and insisted they check whether the knights had already caught up. Several soldiers approached the undead creature that the rogue had summoned. Frey arrived running and, surprised by the undead army, challenged whether the rogue intended to go to war against them.